Hello, thanks for watching this SERC Career Service Guide for anybody who's thinking of making a change in their work or education. My name's Ruth and I'm a Careers Officer at SERC, and I'll be taking you through how to plan your next steps and think about setting goals for the future. This guide is suitable for people of many ages and stages as the information it contains is fairly general. If you'd like advice and guidance that speaks specifically to your situation, there'll be contact details at the end of this video and you can get in touch to set up further support. We've put together this guide because we know for a lot of you, you're making decisions and choices about the academic year ahead, and right now there are a lot of changes and uncertainties to contend with. So it's natural that you might have some questions. You might be wondering how you find the right fit for you, whether it's work or study. You might be considering how to make effective decisions in the midst of all that's going on right now. You might also be wondering how you can research your options, given that lots of open days and other events are on hold. Or you might be simply asking yourself, what's next for me? These might seem like really small or incidental questions, but if they're left unanswered for too long, they could turn into roadblocks later down the line. So let's take some time together to work through them to get the answers that you need. To find the right fit, you need to spend some time thinking about who you are, what you need, and where you want to get to. And as obvious as that sounds, these are often things that we easily overlook. By making sure that the decisions you're taking are in sync with who you are, you'll be able to tailor your pathway more closely to what you need. I'd like you to imagine a map with a tiny pin in the middle of it that says you are here. Whenever you're planning a journey, you look at a map and find your starting point before deciding on the route that you'll take, and career planning is really no different. So before thinking about your next steps, make sure that you've taken the time to recognise how far you've already travelled. You might want to note down your qualifications and educational experience, any work or voluntary experience that you have, and don't forget about your hobbies and interests, because these can be a very important part of the picture. You might also like to break down your experience into smaller bites and think about the projects and responsibilities that you've taken on. Your next steps could grow out of any one or a combination of these experiences, so try to think as broadly as you can and don't leave anything out. All of these experiences will have built up a wealth of skills, and now's a really good time to think about what those might be. Try to think of them as pieces of a puzzle that make up who you are. And it's really important that you don't assume that everyone around you has exactly the same skill set. Know your own value and see how you are different and what you have to offer. If you're unsure of your skills, ask others about the strengths and skills that they see in you. And there's a really important reason for doing all of this. It's not just about improving our self-confidence, although that's a nice byproduct. By identifying the skills that you have right now, you'll be able to see the skills that you'd like to add and develop in the future, and this can help to make your next steps a little clearer. Let's take a little bit of time now to think about your learning style. This might seem like getting into far too much detail, but really it's very, very important when you're choosing future study to make sure that you're choosing courses that suit your needs. Try to think about your past experience of learning. What's gone well for you, and what could have gone better? Which projects or tasks have you particularly excelled at, and what kind of lessons and teaching formats do you enjoy? By thinking about your learning style and not just the subjects or sectors that interest you, you'll be able to choose courses and ways of working that are most in sync with you. And remember that your past experience is very often a guide to your future success. So by thinking about different courses and formats and how they might match your experiences in the past, you're setting yourself up to have more success in the future. Let's turn to the future and think about your goals. These might be short, medium, or longer term. They could be large ideas or smaller steps, but whatever they are, they will be individual to you, and therefore it's your goals that define the path that you'll take. Some examples of goals might include having a positive experience in education, studying something that you've always loved, finding a new passion, or upskilling and taking the next step in your career. You might like to build a firm foundation for higher education, or find a trade or vocation that'll take you into the world of work. Or this might be the year to return to education after some time away, or to change your career path entirely. You might recognise one or many of these goals, or your goals might be something else entirely. All that matters is that you give yourself the chance to see them clearly and that you can start walking in the right direction. So let's fit all the pieces of this puzzle together. It's the combination of your background, your skills, your preferred learning style and your goals that will ultimately help you decide on your next steps and identify the right fit for you. Now let's look at making effective decisions. This doesn't always mean choosing the easiest or fastest path, but it does mean choosing the path that will take you the farthest in the long run. So let's look at some things that you can do right now to make your decisions a little more effective. As a careers advisor, I know how easy it is to talk about effective decisions and how hard it can feel to make them. And right now, making any kind of decision does feel a little bit more difficult than usual. With the changes in work and study that are brought on by coronavirus, it's really easy to put big decisions on hold and really tempting to stick your head in the sand. But if possible, we would encourage you to keep moving forwards. This is because progress is important for our confidence and sense of well-being. So if you have worries or concerns, if you're anxious about the changes that are taking place, I'd encourage you to ask questions. Find out how they'll impact you, and then you can try to adapt and set up support where you need it. Take time if you do feel it's important. Give yourself space from these decisions if you need to, but try to keep a structure in place so that when you would like to restart on your pathway, you'll be able to do so. And don't forget that while the delivery and format of the world around us might change for a while, the pathways we're taking will largely stay the same. So try to keep your eyes focused on your long-term goals and change the timelines and not your destination. Sometimes in isolation, it can be hard to tell if the decisions we're making are effective because we feel a little untethered from the world around us. There's a useful tool to help you to check any decision you make. It's called SMART. SMART stands for specific, breaking bigger goals down into small and focused steps. Measurable, deciding what success means to you and applying that as a criteria. Achievable, giving yourself the best chance for success. Relevant, making sure any goal or decision you make is related to you, your situation and your needs and not those of other people. And timely, giving yourself a reasonable time scale to complete anything you set out to do and giving yourself enough time to plan and prepare. By using SMART, you'll be able to double check that the decisions you're taking are going to get you where you'd like to go. Sometimes making effective decisions means thinking about the barriers that we face and making a plan of action that will overcome or work around them. In reality, everybody faces barriers as they work towards their goals, whether or not they share that reality publicly. Barriers can be different depending on the individual and the situation. For some, it's finances and funding. For others, the realities of caring and family responsibilities. You might be concerned about the impact on or the impact of mental or physical health. Or it might be location and lack of transport that feels like it's standing in your way the most. For others, it might be something that's a little harder to see. It might be worries about losing a job or not being able to secure employment, or a lack of information. And for many of us, the biggest barrier we face is confidence. Almost all barriers have solutions. It's the steps that you take to overcome or work around these barriers that will form the backbone of any plan that you make. And you don't have to face these things alone. If you'd like to talk to us, we'll be able to discuss your barriers with you and may be able to share information that will help. You're nearly there. You've set your goals and you've made your decisions on what you'd like for the future. It's time now to do a little research. Research can be a daunting word that suggests a complex task ahead, but in this case, all we mean is finding the information you need to make informed choices. Try to use reliable, relevant, and up-to-date information that'll help you to make sure that you're acting on accurate data and not wasting time, effort, or money. We'd suggest looking at career profiles which will tell you about the day-to-day realities of a particular occupation, and it's a good idea to read these even if you feel you know a lot already. You might also want to look at labour market information, which will help you to understand the trends and opportunities that exist in the wider market. This might seem like difficult things to get hold of, but we'd suggest looking at the NI Skills Barometer, prospects.ac.uk and the NI Direct Careers A to Z website to help you out. These resources are all easy to find with a simple Google search, or you can get in touch and we can connect you with the information you need. Sometimes when you're thinking about your options, it's the range of pathways and choices that can be most overwhelming. You might be thinking of further education, training, apprenticeships, higher education or higher level apprenticeships, and these might just be some of the things that are currently on your radar. These qualifications all sit on what's called the National Qualification Framework, and the great thing about this is that there's an option for everyone. You can see an example of this framework on the right hand side of your screen now. If you find the names and levels of your choices confusing, don't worry, you're not alone. This can be difficult to navigate, but we are here to help you find your place. One way to find your place and explore your options is to attend a virtual open day. This year, along with academic and teaching colleagues around the country, SERC has gone online to help you get the information you need. SERC staff will be available to answer all of your questions in a series of webinars, and if you're interested in higher education, you might want to look out for the ones coming up on the 27th and 28th of May. If you're interested in further education, apprenticeships or training for success, there will be a series of events running between the 1st and 4th of June. A webinar is a dedicated subject-specific talk delivered by teaching staff, so this will help you to get good insight into the courses that interest you. You'll also be able to talk to tutors and support services and ask us any questions that you need. You'll be able to get support with your choices and applications, and of course SERC Career Service will be available throughout the online open day period to help you with anything you need. If you'd like more information, you can visit www.serc.ac.uk/events. You don't have to wait until a virtual open day to talk to SERC Career Service, and we might be a useful tool to help you with your research. We provide free, impartial and confidential support to anyone in the SERC community, whether or not you are now or ever intend to be a SERC student. We'll help you to make informed choices about your future. You can use the service as often as you need, and right now we're providing remote support by phone, email or video call. So what's next? Well, that really depends on who you are and where you'd like to get to, so it's not easily answered here, but hopefully you do feel a little bit closer to those steps now that we have reflected on your options. And don't forget that your next steps might be as simple as starting a conversation. If you're unsure about what's next for you, talk to SERC Career Service and we'll help you to identify your goals, research your options and take those first steps along your new pathway. Thanks for watching this video guide, and we hope you'll get in touch if you've any questions. Our contact information will be displayed on the last screen of this video, and you'll be able to find it on the SERC website at any time.